cover the two big showcases. Extra, extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast where we have something that needs to be said. There's a level of trust that the audience must have with us in order for them to accept the news from us. That's something we recognize and is important for us. That's why it saddens us to hear that one of the hosts not only lied, but actively hid a preview from you. He can do better. We can do better. We know it'll take a while for us to build back your trust, which is why Dean will do his preview this week, and Gavin will buy each and every one of you a pizza. Stop that sound of it first.
God, I'm broke as hell, boy.
Hey, hold on. What's going on here? Hold on.
I added that last part because, well, obviously we've mentioned we all work together. I was going to make it Landen, and then I was like, no, I will not see, I wouldn't say most. A portion of our audience is our coworkers, and I wouldn't see people asking Landen for pizza. I will see our coworkers asking Gavin for pizza.
If I I was thinking about doing Landen, and I was like, oh yeah, but Gavin's more broke, so let's
No. I was going exclusively off of the fact that I want to see the chaos that I've just started.
Dude, I was literally kind of falling asleep on my bed. I was like kind of half in and out during this until you fucking said that, and I woke straight the fuck up. I woke up, I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah. So, anyway, that is Landen, a.k.a. LMJ the Hitman, and Gavin, a.k.a. Graveyard from Twitch. So yeah, I forgot to mention last week, the whole thing the apology is about, that I did get some hands-on time with the Steam Deck. I didn't actually get any time to play any games, but I did get to mess around with it and feel it out and everything. So, there's a lot of complaints about it being, bulky and heavy. I personally did not think that at all. And I would say I have, medium-sized hands. I wouldn't even say I have massive hands. So, I don't know who's saying it's too small, but sorry about you, guy. You just outed yourself.
I think it's a pretty good product. It feels good to hold.
Yeah, and I got my hands on the base model, so it's probably the lightest out of all of them. But that being said, I can't imagine the screen, the fancy screen and the increased hard drive space is going to be that much more weight. But yeah, so it feels good. The UI for the Steam OS seems pretty intuitive. I liked it. I now am wanting to get one myself. It's just A, the wait times, and B, the fact that they're like $600.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's more than a console, but I think if anybody out there is a PC user and uses Steam, you have a huge access to a whole bunch of games that you own. So it's a no-brainer if you're a Steam user, I feel like. I think Switch does have a competitor once things start rolling out. I know the price is expensive, but it won't be too much of a competitor compared to a $200-300 Switch. But I do think it is still gonna light a fire underneath Nintendo's butt. Hopefully.
Oh, believe me, I have some things to say after this direct about the Switch. But they yeah, that my big problem, the other big problem I have right now is with them being back ordered. Is you basically, it's like $5 to have your name on the waiting list or whatever, and then you have to pay the rest of it within 3 days of when your order's ready. And it's like people were waiting a year on the waiting list. I don't know that I'm gonna have. Even if I had $600 right now, I don't know that $600 is going to be around, by the time my
randomly accepts it. Yeah, no way.
But yeah, it seems like a pretty good product. So, how have you guys been?
Great, doing great. I'm feeling jacked and jazzed, and I got an energy drink, Swedish Fish flavored.
Ooh.
I'm not too much of a Swedish Fish fan, but this drink, pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. Ghost Swedish Fish. Yup. Also called these out.
Gavin?
I'm loving that. Yeah, Gavin, how you doing, man? What's going on? How's your life? What's going on?
I've been
living it up.
Had a bad episode of depression on fucking Tuesday, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
Got through that. Yeah, it was bad enough. I couldn't get out of fucking bed. Like I called off work and everything.
Yeah, I feel you there. Yesterday, so behind the scenes for the fans, we normally record on Thursday. This is actually Friday, which is one of the reasons Landen's jacked is he's able to play Call of Duty. So yesterday, I had a massive anxiety attack that just left me bedridden. And so I literally couldn't do anything. It took all of my energy just to text you guys, hey, let's delay it to tomorrow. That was all the energy I had for the day.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Life be like that sometimes.
It do be like that.
I went to work the next day, not to work, but like to buy groceries. And saw Dustin there. And he looks at me, he goes like, you fucking called off yesterday, you bastard. I was like, yeah, I did that.
So anyway, this is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast, covering the news leading up to Sunday, September 18th, 2022. And this week, with Patreon, as well as other companies having layoffs, it didn't feel right for us to plug that this week. So we're just going to get to some news. All right. First news story is a Nintendo Direct recap. So they really just got into it. There was no preamble or anything. They just started a trailer for Fire Emblem Engage. From what I gathered, based on the story they told through that trailer, seems the bad guy is a dragon, ancient dragon that's come back as a human, maybe? The hero has been asleep for 1,000 years, and the hero can summon Fire Emblem characters from previous games. That will release January 20th. And if anything, it piques your interest, we can talk about it as well. So It Takes Two, which, may I remind you, I typed that wrong. We don't have a Game of the Year for 2022, which was the Game of the Year for 2021. So last year's Game of the Year, official Game of the Year, not every outlet has their own Game of the Year. This was the official Game Awards Game of the Year for 2021. It is a co-op story game, and it comes out November 4th. What's that?
I've got 6 hours left of PPTO.
Okay.
And I have 26 hours of PTO that I can accumulate.
Nice.
So sick.
Yeah.
Granted, I didn't start accumulating PTO until like, fuck, how long ago was it?
It wasn't super long ago now, because
I've only accumulated 22 hours, so it's only been like a few months.
yeah. Let's see, where was I? Here we go. Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. This game, you defeat ghosts with a camera. It's part of a big franchise with many games. It was originally released in 2008, but only in Japan, so this is the first time it's coming here, and it's got an early 2023 window.
Isn't it that one where like you're like in a hospital or a school or something, and you're some like high school student girl or whatever, and like you're just walking around, there just has to be ghosts and shit?
I mean, that's pretty much every Fatal Frame, so I'm going to say yes. I do love watching like people play the Fatal Frame games. I don't know what all games I've watched people play, but yeah, that's pretty much all of the. There's shrines too. There's abandoned shrines that for some of the games. But yeah, they're fun games to watch. I've never played one. I don't know that I have the mental faculties to play one because I am a bitch.
Right.
And get scared too easily. So I'm not afraid to say it. I'm comfortable with who I am.
I want to see a stream where Dean plays Outlast.
Well, if we ever do an extra life, we can make that a stretch goal. So. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Wave 2, which is crazy to me because I feel like Xenoblade just came out and they already have
just released, right?
And they already have an Expansion Pass Wave 1.
They're already through that one and working on the second one? That's so crazy.
It is crazy. They have a new hero. And then they have a challenge mode that looks fun. I just have fun written down, but I meant they have like a battle mode. And I've heard their battle system's really, really good in this game. So that actually looked pretty fun. That comes out September 23rd. So it's weird. It said September 23rd through the 25th. So I guess they're piecemealing this expansion wave, which is weird to me. Octopath Traveler 2. Oh boy, am I excited for this. It is 2.5D, just like the previous Octopath Traveler. It's called Octopath because there's 8 heroes, which are the warrior Hikari, the dancer Agnia, the merchant Partitio, the scholar Oswald, the thief Throne, the cleric Temenos, the hunter Ochet, and the apothecary Casti. Each person's story changes between day and night. Takes place in the world of Celestia. There is a train in it, so it's automatic 10 out of 10. And it releases February 24th. Next up is Fae Farm, which is the first. You'll be hearing this a lot. Farm/life simulator. You are a fairy. There's platforming, and it comes out in spring.
Farm games, yeah.
Yeah. Theater rhythm, final bar line. It's got a shit ton of songs. The main game has all fantasy, Final Fantasy. Has 2-player co-op, 4-player battle. Comes out February 16th. The DLC will have music from the Saga series, the Nier series, the Octopath Traveler, I'm assuming series by that point. And then Live Alive. And that's basically just a rhythm game. I don't know if I said that. You just push buttons to the rhythm or whatever. Mario plus Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, which is the Mario Rabbids game that is XCOM-like. The sparks in question in that title are there's over 30 of them, and they're basically equipable buffs for your character. And that comes out October 20th. Rune Factory 3, which is a farm/life simulator. You take care of / transform into monsters. And there's a new, quote, quality time mode for your spouses, which I don't know if that's just a sex minigame or what, but color me intrigued. That comes out 2023. I mean, what else? When they say there's a new quality time mode for you and your spouse, it's like, what does that mean?
Quality time, quote, unquote.
Yeah, like, but I don't know what else to glean from that other than sex. But I also am a horny boy, so. They announced the N64 games that are coming out over the next, I guess, year, which includes Pilot Wings, Mario Parties 1 through 3, both Pokemon Stadiums, 1080 Snowboarding, Excite Bike, which is the best out of everything they showed off because it's got a train, and then 007 GoldenEye, which, as they announced that on the Direct, Rare posted a tweet that announced it's also coming to Xbox, but unlike the GoldenEye, the N64 version of GoldenEye that's on the Switch, the Xbox version is a revamped game that includes dual stick capabilities, which, hell yeah, the single stick controlling, completely outdated. Throw that trash away. Various Day Life is a farming /life simulator. And they announced
Man, that's a terrible name. That's such a god-awful name for a video game.
It's not a good name, but it's also Square. So what do you expect? Square not super good with their naming conventions, which we'll get to later as well. They shadow dropped that, so it released the day the Direct came out. Factorio is a resource management simulator. It has a train, so it's on Matic 10, and it comes out October 28th. You think I'm taking the whole train bit too far, or should I just keep pushing it?
Go for it, dude. Full send.
Yeah,
It's just
full send.
said that there was a train, so it's automatically good. Like, you just like let it go and kept going, and I was like, God damn it, Dean.
I've been doing that since June. Anytime there's a train. Let's see, id. It is a dark mystery ? Game. It's pixel art. I think, honestly, Gavin, I think this is a game for me, but I think it's a game for you too. And it comes out in the spring. It's called IB. IB.
Lovely name. A lot better of a name.
Yeah.
It was a PC game for the longest time.
Was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one of those RPG Maker style war games.
Yeah, it definitely looks RPG Maker-esque.
Yeah, I love those RPG Maker style games. I never had to play IB though. I fucking only ever played I played Mad Father, and I played what was it called? The Crooked Man. And then I watched the for Angels of Death, which was also a JRPG RPG Maker style game.
Yeah.
But I've seen like a full gameplay of it, but that was like fucking I think 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So like the fact that yeah, the fact that coming out to like actual sort of consoles and shit is pretty dope.
Yep. So you may be able to play it soon.
Yeah.
Mario Strikers is the next game they showed off. They have their second free update, which includes Pauline. Which, can I say, normally when people ask me who the hottest Mario character is, which surprisingly happens more often than you'd think when people learn that I'm into gaming. I don't know why they focus strictly on Mario, but whatever. I usually say Rosalina, but I will say Pauline, very much up there. She's like pulling on Pauline's hair. Like, she's that close. She's coming to Strikers, and then you have Diddy Kong coming as well, and that's later this month. So Atelier Ryza 3. So this is an RPG, JRPG game. I remember when the first game came out, and I can't remember if it was like the director or the producer was shocked at how many people were like thirsty for the character Ryza. Well, with this trailer they showed off, the team definitely is embracing their fans horny, because oh my goodness, the amount of time they zoomed in on Ryza's thighs, which she has dim thighs, so they don't lie, so I can't blame them there, but man, I just was like, they really want to look at her legs, huh? That comes out February 24th. Which I will note, February 24th, same day as Octopath Traveler 2. So, that's interesting that they're they're two separate developers, but it's interesting that they have two games with the same date in the same direct. Which you might hear me talk about again. Mario Kart 8 Wave 3, they showed off 2 of the 6 courses, Merry Mountain from Tour and Peach's Garden from DS, coming out this holiday, which is a duh. They did say they're going to release 3 a year for the next 2 years, so that makes sense. They just released 1, so it would make sense for it to be in the holiday. Just mathematically speaking. Switch Sports is adding golf this holiday, and it includes survival golf, which sounds like a golf battle royale. Which, cool.
Huh.
It was talking about the person with the highest score is eliminated, so I'm assuming that there's 8 holes or whatever, and because there's 8 people, and you just shoot each hole until you have a winner. Then, oh man, this was a great moment. I have a lot of problems with Nintendo in general, but I do love how they'll just debate their own fans, and it is phenomenal. So at this point, Shigeru Miyamoto himself comes on, and he's like, hi, let's talk about Pikmin. And everyone's like, yeah, Pikmin 4, yeah. And he's like, all right, on Pikmin Bloom from Niantic, it's basically Pokemon Go. Let's spend, 4 to 5 minutes talking about this game that came out last year, just to get you all disappointed. Oh, by the way, here's Pikmin 4. Like, it was a great moment. I loved the debate. Oh, so good. And Pikmin 4 is slated for 2023. Harvestella is a life sim / RPG from Square Enix. I say life sim, it's probably more farm sim, but I'm assuming there's some romance in there too. But who knows? But it's, a farm sim / RPG from Square Enix. the demo is out right now. This is the one with where there's an evil thing trying to kill off all the plant life, and you've got to stop it because obviously you're a farmer, so of course you'd want to stop it. And so that's where the RPG elements come out. I forget what the nasty stuff that kills everything out is, but it's like Avatar levels of bad naming. It's like called like the Death Season or something like that, and it's like you couldn't have come out with a better name. Let's like Unobtainium. Come on, guys, let's try a little harder. Anyway, it's coming out November 4th. Bayonetta 3.
Hey.
Everyone's excited about Bayonetta 3. They showed off some of the old rivals that are now allies to Bayonetta. It comes out October 28th.
What a terrible day.
That's shockingly close to God of War for such a big game as Bayonetta.
Same release day as Call of Duty as well.
Oh, is it? Shit. Dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bayonetta. It looks like this game is not your game.
Like, it has a fan base.
It does have a fan base. But a lot of people were looking forward to it. But if there's that much going on around it, who's to say they're actually going to finally pick it up, you know?
I'm not picking it up because I'm dropping so much money on Call of Duty and God of War and not.
See,
those are the two I need.
That's the problem. I will say, so there's a YouTuber I watch, and I was watching his reaction to it, to this direct, and this YouTuber is essentially me and Gavin put together. He talks a lot more like Gavin than I do, and he also has Gavin's color scheme and overall style. And then you combine his horny with me and Gavin's horny, you combine me and Gavin's horny and you get his horny. When they announced Bayonetta, when they were showing off Bayonetta, he just goes, "Sit on me!"
It's just me. Gotcha.
Yeah. He's great. I love him. Rain Code, which is from the makers of Danganronpa. It is a detective game, and it gave off a lot of Persona 5 vibes in the fact that when you uncover enough clues, you'll be sent to another realm, which is to discover the true story. And boss battles involve dodging lies and slicing through contradictions, which I think is an interesting way to do a boss battle. I am very intrigued by this game. It comes out in the spring. We don't really need to talk too much about this. Resident Evil Cloud version starts with Village, then goes to Biohazard with 2 and 3 remakes to follow. All of them are coming out this year. Resident Evil wouldn't work on Switch anyway, and the cloud versions aren't going to work much better.
Nope. I'm just surprised they're not trying to do like a combo. Sell it as a streaming game, but part of the game can be downloaded on a stick, so it's only not doing all the work or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something. I mean, that's what the Xbox's like Fire Stick thing that they're coming out with. That's allegedly what it does. Is it's taking it's partially downloading the game onto the box. So that way, it's always slightly ahead as far as rendering based on where you're at.
Right.
So it just sends that data back, and so forth. So it kind of takes the load off of the streaming a little bit. But yeah. Speaking of games that apparently don't run well on the Switch, Sifu comes out November 8th. Which is the day before God of War. But holy shit, that we're gonna have a conversation, like I said, about the Switch hardware, because a lot of these games, Sifu was the most blatant one, but a lot of these games were chugging, and like they're using like the best of the best situations to record these, trailers and everything. So the fact that in the best conditions it's chugging does not speak well to the hardware.
I agree.
All right, Crisis Core, whatever it is, we don't know if it's a remake or if it's a remaster at this point. They're kind of vague on that. They did say in this trailer that combat is updated. Again, I don't know if that's revamped or just polished. That comes out December 13th. Radiant Silvergun. It's a color-based shmup and is out now. Endless Dungeon, which is basically a dungeon crawler / roguelike. It's coming out 2023. Don't have a whole lot to say about it. They showed it off at the last Direct too, and I don't know. They haven't showed me anything to be like, oh, okay. I'm just like, okay, it exists. Oh boy, I'm excited about this one, boys. Tales of Symphonia Remastered. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was originally released here in the States in 2004. The main character from this particular game, Lloyd, is frequently requested for Smash. Also, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Tales of Symphonia is the only Tales game to receive a sequel.
Oh.
And that comes out 2023. Then they did a 30-second montage of a bunch of games. They're all games that have been out on other platforms or just in general. Like they have Life is Strange Arcadia Bay collection is coming out, stuff like that. There wasn't anything too significant there. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. It came out in 2011 North America, but they added a new ability to this game, which is Mech Kirby.
Hey.
And then there's mini games that you can play in the game too, and they added a new mini game which is called Magalore's Tome Trackers, which is basically a match, like a Simon Says match game thing. That comes out February 24th, the same day as Octopath Traveler 2 and Atelier Ryza 3. Yeah. As our avid listeners will know, Kirby is the perfect partner. Don't ever forget. Just think about that. And be excited.
And think about that.
And then Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom finally gave the name after all this time. And oh boy, I have some thoughts. That comes out May 12th, 2023. What do you guys have to say about that meaty 43-minute direct?
It's pretty big. Honestly, the biggest thing I took away from that was Breath of the Wild stuff. Tears of the Kingdom. That'll be hard to get used to. And then honestly, that Kirby game looks great too. And Octopath Traveler 2, that's also awesome. But I think we're getting to a point where it's like either announce the new console or give us these sequels to these games that we've been waiting for ever since you released your console.
Yeah,
where's Mario Odyssey at?
Yeah, there are some games that we're notably missing.
There's like 3 farming games on here.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I will say, speaking to that, let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that Animal Crossing was breaking like all the records.
Fair enough.
And so I think a lot of this is it seems a little short on time, but at the same time not, where this might be a lot of them seeing that and being like, we need to get our own life sim out there. Like, this is money. Again, that seems a little bit short of a turnaround, but that's the only thing I can think of, because life sims have been popular in the past, but not to this degree where this many are being announced, you know what I'm saying? So I wonder if this is more capitalizing off of a very specific and very well-timed game rather than an actual... Because I did notice that too. For me, there's several, like, I understand if you didn't like what they announced, that I'm fine with. It's those that are saying that it's disappointing that I would push back on, because there's a lot of big names in this, in this direct, like Fire Emblem. That is a big franchise. It Takes Two was Game of the Year last year. Let's not forget about that. Fatal Frame, there's like 12 Fatal Frame games. That's clearly a very big franchise, even if it's not here in the West. Xenoblade, that is a big... I mean, it's just an expansion, but that's a big game. That's a big franchise. Octopath, this is the sequel, but the first one did pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like the first one blew up. Popularity and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, and it's a franchise at this point. You have Mario plus Rabbids. That first game did really well. Oh shit! I skipped a bunch of games actually. I don't know how.
You have Eve, which is coming to something other than PC, which is like one of I think it's like one of the big 3 RPG Maker style games, like back when RPG Maker games were like super popular like 8 years ago.
Yeah. So the games I missed were SpongeBob SquarePants the Cosmic Shake. That's a big franchise right there. Fist of the North Star Fitness Boxing, which is an odd placement for the Fist of the North Star anime franchise, but that is big anime franchises. You have Oddballers, which is a dodgeball game that looks similar to Overcooked. You have Tunic, which is my current game of the year for 2022. That's a big game. Front Mission Remakes, Story of Seasons, which is formerly Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, and that's when they released A Wonderful Life, it was under Harvest Moon, but obviously they can't copyright that. Splatoon 3 announced a Splatfest, which we can go over that discussion here in a minute. But yeah, so I pushed back on the disappointing. I'm fine with you saying you don't like it, but there are people out there saying, "Oh, that was awful direct. That was disappointing." And it's like, I wouldn't say that. No,
I don't think it was disappointing either. There's plenty here for all kinds of types.
Yeah,
for the original, Zelda enough alone is really just enough to make it good. So
yeah,
and there's more than that. So
icebreaker question then. Before we continue on, since I forgot to ask it when we were going through the thing. So the Splatfest this year has the theme, each Splatfest has a theme. And so this theme is, and you base your team that you're playing the whole event based on this question. So what would you bring to a deserted island? Gear, grub, or fun?
Grub.
What about you?
What was the first one?
Gear, grub, or fun?
Fun.
See, I'm a gear person because I can get food with gear, and you can have fun with gear as well. But I feel like the others are kind of limiting, I would say. But that's just me personally.
My thing is that you can make gear with just shit found on the desert island, and then you can get food with said gear.
I played enough survival games.
But anyway, yeah, so going back to what you mentioned before, where these games aren't running well, I would agree. I mean, holy shit. Like, I noticed some issues with some of the other games, and, like, just in general, some of the games this year that have come out on the Switch have been
Yeah.
But, like, when Sifu came out, or when they showed Sifu off, it was so obvious how poorly the hardware's handling that game. And that's not even a super taxing game either. Like, that was the first game by that developer, so it's not like it's, the most beautiful looking game. Like, the art style's good and everything, and it looks good, but it's not like it's, holy shit, this is the next step for graphics. It's very, compared to some other games, I would say Sifu's very graphic light, and it was struggling with those. So, I said it before, I don't think we're getting a 4K Switch, but they have to do something about the processing of the Switch hardware, and maybe a better graphics card too. Like, it's not having a good time with a lot of this stuff, and it's such a bad time for them to do a hardware refresh too, with all the shortages and everything, and they're so far behind everyone else in line right now. I don't know what they're going to do about all this, but it's not looking good at this point. Do you have anything else to say about this, Gavin, before I go on my rants?
No, I don't have anything else to say about it.
All right. All right. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They kept saying, "Oh, we don't want to announce the name. We don't want to announce the name because it's a spoiler." And it's like, well, it's going to be a spoiler regardless. Like, no one's going to get it's not like you're going to release the game as Legend of Zelda with a piece of tape over the box art, and then when you get the game, you can tear the piece of tape off and see the name. You're going to have to announce the name anyway. So, spoilers or not, just release the title.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
I like Tears of the Kingdom, but I don't understand why they couldn't have just given that out already. Especially
I don't see any spoilers.
Yeah.
With the name.
I don't. There's a lot of theories rolling around which are pretty good, such as original Breath of the Wild. There's a lot of references to the Zonai, which is a unheard of Zelda race, and so there's a lot of theories that maybe it's Tears of the Kingdom because the Hyruleans did something terrible to the Zonai, and that's what the tears are for. There's a whole lot of stuff being thrown out. But yeah, I did like this direct a lot. Like I said, though, it's weird that they have 3 games coming out all on the same day. Like 3 games they're announcing all at the same time for their console coming out on the same day. That seems bizarre.
Yeah.
Bayonetta's release date way too close to a bunch of other stuff. Like, that's going to just get buried, and we're never going to hear about that again. Tales of Symphonia Remastered is cool, but yeah, I'm excited, but there's a whole lot of other stuff going on with Nintendo that I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So, let's go ahead and get on with the Sony State of Play. This game, I will say, the recap's going to be a lot shorter because they gave a whole lot less information. It was mostly cinematic trailers.
Yep.
Whereas there was a lot more gameplay trailers and explanations in the Nintendo one.
I've noticed Sony loves doing cinematic trailers more than they do gameplay trailers.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when you have the hardware to do the cinematics, you got to do the cinematics. Yeah. Nintendo doesn't have the hardware again to do the cinematics. Like,
to be the cinematic, isn't just gaming. Like Sony, like they also do films.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do films too. But like, you look at if Nintendo were to do cinematic trailer, you're like, oh, this looks like it was a pretty cool 360 game. Oh, it was for the Switch. Okay. So the Sony State of Play started with Tekken 8, and it was Jin and Kazuya fighting. Looks cool. They did have this little thing that I really liked, where when they were fighting, their fight broke like a chain, and there was a piece of the chain that broke that was just 2 links of the chain, and they spun around to form an 8, and then became the logo. That was a really cool transition. Great attention to detail. I really liked that. Star Wars, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which the only thing I can say about that is Hondo!
Hey.
And then it was rebuilt and redesigned for PSVR 2 because it is already out on Steam. But they adjusted it because of the PSVR 2 tech that is not present in the other headsets, which is cool that they're adjusting for that. Since VR is supposed to be so immersive, having tech not be compatible is definitely an issue. Then
it's breaking.
Demio is also already out and is sitting at mostly positive reviews for Steam. It is essentially a D&D VR game, which is interesting. The Wizard voice, they're clearly copying Ian McKellen's Gandalf.
Yeah.
When I was listening to it, I actually watched this on stream, and while I was listening to it, the wizard was talking, and I just did the "You shall not pass" because it just reminded me of that so much. It was that energy. And those are the 2 PSVR 2 games they showed in this presentation. Like a Dragon Ishin, which is the new Western rebrand for the Yakuza games. The series in Japan already has the name Like a Dragon, but for whatever reason, we've renamed it Yakuza here in the States, which is still a very Japanese name, which it's like, why not just keep the original? It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is a whole thing, but
I'm not opposed.
That.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to adaptations, but it's like, if you're going to try to separate from a very Western name, why would you, or from a very Eastern name, why would you try to separate it with another Eastern name? It's like there's a Americanized version of an anime that I really love, and the original Japanese name was Hikaru, which they ended up renaming Rick. But originally they were going to rename him. What was it? I'm drawing a blank on. But they were going with another Japanese name, and it's like, if you're going with a Japanese name, just Hikaru. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? But anyway, this game also returns to the action gameplay of older Like a Dragon games, where the last 2 entries, I would say, were turn-based. And that comes February.
Stay turn-based.
Yeah, I know they went to turn-based. I thought they were going to stay turn-based, and then their Judgment series, which is spin-off, was going to be action. But then they're like, no, this is action. So I got, okay. Whatever you say, bud. Hogwarts Legacy releases February 10th, and they have an exclusive quest that is only available on PlayStation, which I feel is going to be a whole discussion at another time when it gets closer to the game coming out, similar to the discussion about Spider-Man only being in the PlayStation version of Avengers. Not that when it came out, anyone cared about that game anymore, but there was a whole conversation about that as well. Pacific Drive is an interesting one. It's a first-person, card-based roguelike.
Very unique.
Yeah, you got all that?
No, no, I don't.
So you're first person, you get out of your car, you build your car. Your car is essentially your weapon. So you can add modifications and stuff based on what you gather while you're driving through these weird storm things. And the entire game's first person. And then, like I said, these weird storms, and then it's roguelike on top of that. I'm intrigued to learn more. That is exclusively PS5. If I don't mention what platforms it is, it's either not exclusive or it's on both PS4 and PS5. Oh boy, here's a good one. PlayStation Stars.
Oh.
They are digital collectibles earned by playing games. They are only showable through the PlayStation app rather than on the console. Despite the first thing they showed being an ape, it is not an NFT.
Huh.
They've made it clear ever since they announced this, like through a blog post. This is not an NFT. This is not an NFT. And then when they finally showed it, the first thing they showed was an ape, and it's like, are you sure it's not an NFT?
Very much giving NFT vibes.
Yeah. And then it only being showable through the app. Like, I'm not super in the PlayStation ecosystem, so I can't necessarily speak to this. Does anyone really use the PlayStation app?
What is it?
I got it.
PlayStation app?
Yeah.
I use it to make purchases sometimes. Like I bought Call of Duty and downloaded the beta before it even came home.
Yeah.
I have for some reason. I got it.
There is a reason.
Yeah. So, like, I would even say, like, the Game Pass app on my phone, I've genuinely used, like, I'll scroll through, see what's on Game Pass on my phone every now and then. But I think I've only clicked download on the app, like, maybe once. And it's just to see the game download while I was at work so I could play it when I got home. That was about it. That was the only time. So I can't imagine the PlayStation app being super useful either. Sin Duality. That is an action mech game with an AI girl companion. That's about all we know about the game. Then you have Stellar Blade, which is a sci-fi action game. Formerly, it was called Project Eve, and it was shown off before at a PlayStation thing. And that is for PS5. Man, that game looks good. And I think this is the first game that this studio's making, but it does look phenomenal. Rise of the Ronin, which is a whole thing. It's an action RPG and is getting confused with Wolong Fallen Dynasty, which there was even, I don't know if it's still up, but for a short time there was even a Wolong Rise of the Ronin wiki page, which is a combination of the two titles, which is never good, getting your game confused with another game. But it's even worse when both are being developed by Team Ninja and published by Koei Tecmo. That's when your own game is cannibalizing your own game.
Yeah,
that's rough.
That is so rough.
You would think that maybe there would be discussions on, should we change some things up about this game? Should we... do you think this might be a problem? Like, where were those discussions? But I will say, as far as Rise of the Ronin, there was this really cool moment that really made me pop, where they just stab a guy with the bayonet at the end of their gun, and then slice through the rest of his body with the bayonet, turn around, blast another guy in the face. And I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, he pulled off a pretty cool wombo combo.
Yeah, that was a wombo combo for sure. But yeah, that's on PS5, and it's the only game I've seen so far that has a 2024 release window. A lot of the things I've seen are like, no, it's coming out next year. It's coming out this year.
Yeah, some of them are like, let's be real, it's not until 2024.
Yeah. And then we're at the end. They showed off a God of War Ragnarok controller, which comes out the same day as Ragnarok. I'm sure it's already sold out.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Sexy looking controller.
Oh, it looked good. It had like blue handle plates, and then had the sun and moon wolf on the front. It was so good. And then they showed off God of War Ragnarok, which continues to look better every single showing. Like, it looks so good. And speaking of the Sun and Moon Wolf, there's one crazy shot where, I'm trying to blank on the kid's name. Anyway, he shoots an arrow. Atreus, thank you. He shot an arrow at the sun, and one of the wolves jumps to go fetch the arrow, and it just splits the sky, and it suddenly turns to night. Oh, it's such a cool shot.
What an awesome trailer, and it just got me so hyped for that game.
Oh, it looks so good. And that, of course, like I said, mentioned, comes out November 9th. Oh, man. So, like, I would say both these trailers met or exceeded not trailers, but presentations met or exceeded my expectations. Because I don't have high expectations for State of Plays, simply because they have not, that's not their cadence. Their cadence typically is, our big stuff is going to be in PlayStation showcases, and our State of Plays are going to be a lot smaller. But this felt like a good State of Play. Even with my low expectations, I would say it definitely exceeded that. Obviously, there's not as big names as in the Nintendo Direct, but you still have Tekken, you still have Star Wars. Yakuza games are very popular, which they're now like a dragon, though, which might hurt the brand name a little bit, brand recognizability.
Well, there's 3 of those announced at one time.
Yeah. Then you have God of War. There was some big names in there. Also, not nearly as many games. There was 10 games in the Sony State of Play, and I think last I counted, and I didn't count the montages, there was like 40 something Nintendo games. So they busted through some of those games really quickly in that Direct. But yeah, so I thought both of them were very good showcases.
For sure.
But everything that I'm excited for from the Nintendo Direct, I already know what I'm getting, simply because it doesn't look like there's anything really new, or it's just remasters. I will say with State of Play, I'm more curious about a lot of the stuff on the list. Pacific Drive. Like, I'm not into roguelikes, but the idea that you're driving a car and that is the roguelike gameplay intrigues me. Stellar Blade looks so good. I'm a little worried that it might be a little too much like the Souls games, and I am not a bash my head against the wall kind of gamer. I'm very much, I only want to try a couple times. I only have the time to try a couple times, and if I can't do it, it's into the backlog. You have Sin Duality, which is the first mech game in a long time that I'm like, oh, this looks like a good mech game. There's a lot of good things in that has me excited. I would say, as far as something that I'm intrigued about, but don't know anything about, I would say Master Detective Archive Rain Code, which is that
name.
That is the name. I think what it is the franchise. It's the first game of the franchise, but I think the franchise is going to be Master Detective Archive, and this particular game is Rain Code, if I'm interpreting that right. But that is again from the makers of Danganronpa, which I've never played a Danganronpa game. It seems a bit brutal for me. There's a lot of just deaths that are like oof in those games. But I'm intrigued. Like I mentioned, it looks very Persona-like in the fact that there's this second dimension where you fight these twisted monsters and so forth. And then the battles involving what you've learned through all the clues you've gathered and using those in the boss fight, I think is fascinating as well. But outside of that, I think everything else I know what I'm getting from the Nintendo Direct. So that's one thing I will say is I know what to expect from everything they announced. I don't know what to expect from a lot of stuff that State of Play announced.
Right.
So out of everything, is there anything in particular you guys are super excited about? Obviously, besides God of War, because
I'm going to put God of War off to the side.
Yeah, because all of us, I think, are excited for God of War. But
I don't know. I'm a little first of all, one thing that upsets me that stands out is that PlayStation Stars. I don't understand what that. It's not very fleshed out. It just seems like I don't even know why it's. Like, they care about it enough to put it in one of these things, but it's so vague and not it's for a very small demographic, it feels like.
I feel like it's going to end up like, what was that one feature they just sunsetted that came out with the PS5? It was something like recommendations or something like that.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It was supposed to help breed positivity and weed out negativity, but it no one used it, so it didn't really matter. This gives off that energy. I think I've heard it said so many times in so many different places, but if they brought back a feature they used to have called PlayStation Home, yes, and had it be something you could decorate your quote apartment with, I think that would be different. But it being limited to the app and just being like, hey, look at this PlayStation 3 I earned. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't have the same effect.
No. Also, out of all the PlayStation consoles for them to show for the digital collections, like their most disappointing console, the PlayStation 3, why would you show that one?
And Ape Escape and
like the PlayStation 3 is the one, outside of maybe the PSP and the Vita, is like the one blemish on PlayStation.
I mean,
because they outpriced their market.
Yeah, why would you have the PS3 when you can do like Kratos or Horizon or Ghost of Tsushima? Like, they have so many games. Infamous, like, they have so many things they could pull from, even nostalgia-wise as well. And then,
I mean, obviously, I can see them needing to have a lot, so I can see the PS3. But why would you show the PS3 in the presentation?
right.
Show the PS2, the best-selling console of all time.
Yeah, bad
Show
boy.
that as the collectible.
I liked the PS3 though.
I mean, I'm not saying the PS3 is bad. I'm just saying it is the least selling PlayStation console outside of, again, the PSP and the Vita.
Yeah.
But those were portable consoles. Out of their home consoles, it is the most disappointing console they've released. And that's the one they put forward. They're like, hey, look at this collectible. Yeah, it's sad to say, but I almost think Nintendo does like the reward system the best, because even
you get
even
money,
Microsoft
discounts, and
yeah, you get discounts. You get like, you can like get like physical like posters and stuff too. Now I will say it's a whole lot less intuitive to get to all that stuff than it is for Xbox or PlayStation. But like with Xbox, you earn points and stuff, but then you go to turn them in, and it's like, oh, here's a Microsoft branded mug. Here's a gift card for Windows Store. Here's you can enter a sweepstakes to maybe possibly win a game or a console. And it's just like, I don't care. I would take the game or console if I could earn enough points just to, buy it outright with those points. Because that still requires me putting in a lot of effort and supporting them quite a bit. But like, I don't care about the gift card. I don't care about the branded mug. I don't care about the, winning the, getting a chance to win. There's nothing there for me. And then PlayStation's had similar issues where they don't know what to do with a rewards program for their loyal fans, which sucks.
If it tells you anything, I didn't even know there was a reward program for PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've changed it quite a bit. Like I said, this is the new attempt, the PlayStation Stars, where, like I said, you can win these digital collectibles and be like, look what I have.
yeah.
I have an ape. What do you
You could just display them better for like all your friends to see.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is, it might be okay if it wasn't for the implementation. And they can always change that too, I would assume. I'm assuming they can alter it a little bit and possibly make it better. But right now, it just does not seem like a great system. So,
I'm sure we'll hear more about that in like probably early October.
Probably.
yeah. So,
Good conferences though, for sure. Lots of stuff.
yeah.
Good to know that there's still video games coming out, and we're in the right. You know what I mean? Like we're in the in the right path here. These video games aren't going anywhere.
Yeah. I can't find what I was trying to find, but they just, like I said, there was something that they had at the launch of PS5 that they were super big into, and they just, like, I want to say a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, shut it down because no one was using it. But I'd like to have found it, but I didn't. But if you would like to listen, or if you didn't like to listen to this podcast, make sure to do all of the things, like hitting the subscribe button and hitting the like button and hitting the bell button on youtube.com/the XofPlays. It's a whole process YouTube makes you go through. It sucks, I know. But you could also give it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. Be sure to tell people about the show. Word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. That's all from us. Take care.
Yeah.